Hi friends. You may have heard about some studies done by psychologists and economists that determined on average the unhappiest and least satisfying years of human life are generally around midlife, hitting the lowest point between age 47 through 49 for most people. You may have heard of the term midlife crisis, which is sometimes caricatured by society and media to show people in their 40s and 50s panicking about getting older and suddenly acting out by spending money on frivolous luxury items like sports cars or designer clothing popular among much younger generations. Maybe they go out and get a tattoo or a crazy hairstyle and pick up on extreme hobbies, trying to recapture their lost youth. While not everyone goes through this type of behavioral shift, it makes sense why people who are entering this season of midlife may be considered unhappy and unsatisfied. Personally, I'm entering these years, and I know many people who are either in or have recently gone through midlife. There is the real challenge of starting to deal with aging parents, and if you have children, your kids are entering adolescence and growing up. If you're not married, you're starting to feel more and more pressure about getting married. Your career and work life has progressed to some degree, but you are in a place where you either haven't progressed as far as you'd have liked, or you're feeling the pressure to level up and keep up with your peers who are maybe more advanced than you. You might be more financially stable than when you were younger, but you have less time and energy in which to do things with your finances. Your body starts to hit a real season of decline. You feel pain where you didn't before. You don't sleep as well. Recovery takes longer. You start having to go to the doctor for things you just took for granted. There's a lot happening in this season. But unhappiness and dissatisfaction with life can happen to anyone at any time. Life doesn't wait until midlife to hit you hard, and it doesn't always get better after either. Young adults are reporting higher levels of despair due to economic struggles, mental health challenges, and overall being more isolated due to the digital age that we live in. And older adults traditionally were considered more satisfied, but older people are also facing historically high levels of loneliness and isolation. So no matter if you're in midlife like me, or you're a young adult facing the years ahead, or you're in your golden years looking back, we all face challenges when entering new seasons of our lives. I want to share 3 Bible passages that can help keep us grounded and rooted as we navigate the ever-changing seasons of our lives, especially if we find ourselves in a new season full of challenges and changes. The first passage is from Ecclesiastes 2, 10 through 11. And whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I kept my heart from no pleasure, for my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was my reward for all my toil. Then I considered that all that my hands had done, and the toil I had expended in doing it, and behold, all was vanity, and a striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun. The author of Ecclesiastes, traditionally considered to be King Solomon, is looking back at his life. He worked hard and experienced a lot of what the world would consider success. He expanded his empire, accumulated a ton of wealth, and did whatever pleased his heart. But looking back at all of it, he felt empty. Whether you're in your 20s, 40s, or 60s, you might look back at your life and all that you worked so hard to achieve. Your education, your career, your family. And while sometimes these things offer some satisfaction, you often find yourselves feeling empty and wondering, what did I work so hard for? These things don't ultimately satisfy you. There's always something more to achieve out there around the corner. Ecclesiastes reminds us that having more achievements under your belt doesn't equate to true happiness or satisfaction. And that's normal. The second passage is from Psalm 90:12. So teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. This psalm was actually written by Moses while he was wandering in the wilderness with Israel and watching an entire generation of his people pass away before entering the Promised Land. Part of the reason why aging and entering new seasons of life scares us is because with every milestone in life, we realize that we have many fewer years ahead. There's still so much we want to do with our lives, but so little time left. You see your parents aging and your body falling apart, and it's a stark reminder that our days are numbered. Psalm 90 reminds us that numbering our days isn't something to be dreaded like we often do. Numbering our days should be a deep, reflective, theological practice that reshapes our practices and priorities. Instead of always doing things we used to, it reminds us to take a step back, examine our lives, whatever age or season we're in, and ask ourselves, am I living in a way that really matters before God? This kind of wisdom helps us stop taking things for granted and helps us to reorient and realign to more eternal priorities. The last passage I'll share with you is from 2 Corinthians 4, 16 through 18. So we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. Paul is writing this letter to a church that was focused on shallow, outer things like status, appearance, and worldly strength, being swayed by people who were eloquent and noteworthy, while Paul himself was associated with hardships and suffering, and he had an unpolished speaking style. Today's culture is obsessed with outer things, staying youthful, being fit, looking attractive. But the Bible reminds us that even if our outer self declines, we can be renewed in our inner selves. There's only so much we can do to prevent physical aging. Eventually it catches up to all of us. But there is so much opportunity to develop our inner selves, grow in spiritual depth, maturity, and wisdom. These are the things that really matter, and these are the things that are eternal. In fact, Paul considers hardship and suffering to be 1, light momentary affliction, and 2, preparing us for an eternal weight of glory. Paul isn't saying that hardship, suffering, aging, and decaying are nothing, but he is saying that compared to the work that God is doing in our lives through it, it is relatively light compared to the substantial, eternal purpose of God. When we find ourselves in the midst of a turbulent, confusing, and frustrating new season of life, I hope we can remember verse 18, that we can shift our focus from the things that normally grab our attention, like finances, our appearance, our work, or our family life, and look and really fix our gaze on the things that are unseen, which are eternal. Friends, our youth will come and go, our looks, our energy, our abilities will come and go, money will come and go, education and career will have its time and purpose, then it'll become eventually less meaningful. People will also come and go in and out of our lives. I hope that we gain a new perspective from Ecclesiastes, Psalm, and 2 Corinthians to guide us as we face each new season of life, that the achievements of our lives are good, but not ultimately what gives us satisfaction, that the numbering of our days isn't something to be feared, but instead embraced. And wasting away of our outer self is an opportunity to prioritize the renewing of our inner self towards something much more eternal.